Jumden de Shan Rajon Bayanda Zobe Sanje Ribada Shazun Demban Devarisha Yankan Jivon Deva Kalo Jiva Lana Hada Menanje Demba Sanje Jumden Shaja Tuba La Chazen Lo Jada Jamsuja Demba Jumden de Shan Rajon Bayanda Zobe Sanje Ribada Shazun Demban Devarisha Jiden Jamba Jivon Deva Kalo Jiva Lana Sada Menanje Demba Sanje Jumden de Beja Shaja Tuba La Chazen Lo Jada Jamsuja Demba Jumden de Shan Rajon Bayanda Zobe Sanje Ribada Shazun Demba Devarisha Jiden Jamba Jivon de Kalo Jiva Lana Meba Sada Menanje Demba Sanje Jumden Beja Wa Shaja Tuba La Chazen Lo Jada Jamsuja Kaze Kanye Zowa Jadam Sajen Demba Gomba Nane Jiden Dena George Su, Tese Keva Jona Chaz. Nanda Gunga Choto Sosanga, Yeshi Jazu, Sergei Gombo. Taban Jiden Sumna Lame Bo Gombo Chonye Jona Chaz. Senjon Demba Chimenda Veshi, Sendo Rawa Jona Chaz. Duje Jona Seba Soma Chia Nyame Jenje Jona Chaz. Gombo Duje Chedemba Tamje Chembe Dembo, Sonam Yende Jazu. Dije Shama Chaz, Lo Taben de Shache. Giving so much. Cheddar than the show your Russian Jurgen, China Travel, Shigatama Yende, then Gendana Charles, and the Wachian messages. Ragas and the Yozo, then the Sanja, then by Yakama, you must Melan Lord agenda condition, the Solomon D. Jesse. Quantum Ginger, Dadu, then Gadan, Chira Lottery. Severs on the one Jover is
to the teacher,
the blessed
one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened, perfecting knowledge and good conduct,
Sugata,
no
supreme guide of beings to the
teacher of gods and humans,
to
to
you,
the completely and fully awakened,
the blessed
one, the glorious conqueror,
the
subdue
subdued,
from the shelter. I prostrate my offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the last one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened, perfecting knowledge and good conduct,
Sugata,
and all
supreme guide of beings to the teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely
and fully awakened one,
the blessed
one, the
glorious conqueror, the
subdue
subdued,
from the shelter. I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the last one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfecting knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, no word, supreme guide of beings to the being, teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror. Subdue from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. Most supreme among humans, you are born on this earth. You paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With the pure body's form supremely pure, wisdom motion like golden mountain, flame that blazes in 3 worlds. You know the best, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the very words are incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior in great compassion, the teacher in all understanding, the field of merit to the qualities like a vast ocean, to you the one gone to dustness I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dharma which pacifies and prostrates. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy few qualified with realization, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the sublime community intending virtue I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. the star, mirage, or flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or bubble, the dream, flash of lightning or cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits and essential beings attain rank of all see, subdue the flow of thoughts, and be delivered from motion of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje Jona Zoje Jona Ma Chanju Bodo Dane Jazu Dagen Jezo Jega Zonam Je Jona Penje Sanje Drugo Sanje Jona Zoje Jona Ma Chanju Bodo Dane Jazu Dagen Jezo Jega Zonam Je Jona Penje Sanje Drugo Sanje Jona Zoje Jona Ma Chanju Bodo Dane Jazu Dagen Jezo Jega Zonam Je Jona Penje Sanje Drugo Sanje Jona Zoje Jona Ma Chanju Bodo Dane Jazu Dagen Jezo Jega Zonam Je Jona Penje Sanje Drugo
They go forth and reach into the light to the Buddha, Lama, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other professions, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge into the light to the Buddha, Lama, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other professions, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Lama, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Gede Pumba Dayana, Jadan Juba Jandun Jawa, Gede Pumba Namnesia, Pumba Senior Mego, Dani Yuba, Dagi Yuba Kana, Dadan, the Bishop, Manzimania, Zemek, Manzimanian Zemek, Tay Yuba, Manzimanian Zemek, the Torn, Nada Shiranya Dano, Dadan, the Vinyan, Yavana, Bakaji, the Zip, the Kavase, Leather Yuma Sevatara, Leather Yuma Nondole, Tata, Jovan, Tomani, Dago Shijata Juju, Dame Jejit, Sanjanam Jata, Dame Jejit, Jura Shawandova, the Simji Chuyando, Majeta, Chunin Yanga, Tamje Yanda Yandame, Yanda Yandam, 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 and the Sanja Jetamo. Sheneshime Shivana, Jovanam Jama, Java, Namdo Medu, Tenet, Senior. Kana Dene Kanjuma, Tenet, Yeme, Tenet, Shamba, Yeshit, Sanje Jeden Venom Je, Temba Duzin Juba, Tinjimania Tademe, Chevomania Tama. Zosanjana Mañjuśrī, Yedon Jezebano, Rasanji, Temba Mela Raduki, and other Chua, the Shesha, Chuki, Kangia, Mobotijan, Mohammed, to the Yishin Summit. Bemet and La Chance. So today, kind of review by reading the Chandrakirti's root text from the beginning. The first ground, perfect joy. So I pay homage to the gentle Lord Mañjuśrī. And then Chandrakirti reads Śrāvakas and the middle level Buddhas, Pratika Buddhas, which means Śrāvakas and the Pratika Buddha, arises from sovereign sage, Buddha sages. Buddha are born from bodhisattvas. Śrāvakas, Pratika Buddha, Buddhas are born from bodhisattvas. The compassion mind, non-dual cognitions, as well the awakening mind, these are the cause of bodhisattvas. So now they're saying that Śrāvakas, the Hinayana Arhat Śrāvakas and Pratika Buddhas and Buddhas are all born from bodhisattvas, and the bodhisattva are born from the great compassions, realization emptiness,
and awakening mind, which means bodhicitta or the enlightened mind, right? The three things. Bodhisattvas born from three conditions: compassions, realization, emptiness, and the bodhicitta or enlightenment. So these are the cause of the bodhisattvas. From the bodhisattvas, and then the Buddha, from the Buddha and the Pratika Buddha and the Śrāvakas. So, which, yes, from this, what we understand is the compassions is the root of all the arhats and all the Buddha and all the bodhisattvas. The compassion is the root cause. And then it says, as compassion alone is accepted to be the seed of the perfect harvest of the Buddhahood, the compassion plays a role as a seed and water, the water that nourishes it, and the fruit that is the long source of enjoyment. So compassion play roles in the three characters, right? So one is the seed, the second is the fertilizer, like water, moistures, and the third is the fruit that enjoy and the source of enjoy for all sentient beings. So I will praise, therefore, then, now Chandrakirti says, therefore, before praising to the Śrāvaka and Pratika Buddha and Buddha and Bodhisattvas, I will praise compassion at the start of all. So Chandrakirti says, before I praise to the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas, the Arhat, I pay praise to compassion, because which is the substantial cause for the all three arhats, two arhats, and Buddha and the Bodhisattvas. So Chandrakirti's text from the beginning, he prays to the compassions. Now they're saying that sentence number 3, right? Saying that how do we really generate that kind of compassion? So how do you really develop the compassions? The compassions here through contemplating on the 12 links and dependent originations. So how they're saying the first with the thought of I am, and they cling to self. Then the thought of mind, they become attached to things, like buckets on the water wheel, right? They turn without control, are bow to the compassion that cares for such suffering beings. So that, includes the 12 links and dependent originations, out of ignorance, generating karma. From the karma, the consciousness. From the consciousness, name and form. From the name and the form, the faculties. From the faculties, contact. From the contact, feeling. From the feeling, craving, grasping, and the process of becoming. And then birth and aging and death. So to contemplate the 12 linked to dependent originations, so they generate first the great compassions. So within the great compassions that is generated through the contemplating 12 and the dependent originations, and the compassions divided into 3. So first, compassion to sentient. I think the terminology is compassion, mere sentient beings, right? Compassions with phenomena, the compassions or non-abiding compassion, non-abiding compassions, the phenomenal compassions, the mere sentient beings compassions. So here saying the first compassions, beings are like reflection of the moon in the rippling water. Beings are like a reflection of the moon in the rippling water.
What page are you on, Keshila?
I'm just reading Chandrakirti's root text.
Oh, okay.
Like it's a wrinkle waters, the sea. So seeing them as fleeting, as devoid of intrinsic natures, Bodhisattva's mind falls under compassion's way, yearning to set free every transmigrating beings. So the compassion, the great compassion divided into three is the first saying, mere sentient beings, through generating, through contemplating with the dwellings and dependent originations, simply, compassion, the sense of care for the sentient beings. That compassion has not really underpinned with, realization with this, the impermanence, realization of the emptiness. The second, the beings are reflection like moon in rippling water, means that compassion is now underpinned with, realization of subtle impermanence, and that also includes, the compassions, the associating with realization of self-sufficient I, absence of self-sufficient I. So then the fleeting as a devoid of intrinsic natures means, the compassions associated or underpinned with realization emptiness. So three kinds of compassions. Compassion for the mere sentient beings, compassion with, the underpinnings, compassions, the simultaneously, cooperating or actively cooperating with wisdom, understanding of the absence of self-sufficient I, or wisdom that understands or realizes the subtle impermanence. Then the compassion, third compassions, are non-abiding compassions, means, compassions with realization emptiness. Three kinds of compassion, right? So, so stanza number 3 is the first with thought and I and my, I, and then they cling to self. This, stating the compassion to mere sentient beings. So this compassion can be generated without realization emptiness. Vibhashika school, Siddhantika school, mind-only school. So they all can develop this kind of compassions. The second, they realize, the compassions is the compassion that is the actively functioning with wisdom that understand the absence of self-sufficient I. So not the subtle emptiness, but is the, revealing or realizing that no self-sufficient I, no permanent I. And third, in the Prasangic school's point of view, is the realization emptiness. So this compassion sees that all sentient beings like like a reflection of the moon and the waters. Like they see sentient beings like illusion, sentient beings like a dream object. So nyende sanje dino tuanje, sanje chanju sama deroji, nije sama nye sama la de chanju sama jese nam jikyu, kanji senye jewe lo do punzo de sawe to de pela chunda yuren. Launcher de la member of the duty of Tijan, the Tomanin Jebet, Tambongasha, the Shinjus, and David Dishin will charge. Shujin Shen, the Ram member, you don't need you to tell you. Draw you with you and the other Rajini, Tombo Toy. There are 70 Semgan number 2, which is Ninja, one you could have some women by Ramon, rather never tell that Bushes was. So means, through the intense dedications with some of the Bodhisattvas, prayers, he abides in the perfect joy. This is called the first ground. Now, so the first ground, the identify with the direct realization of the emptiness. And then that realization emptiness is not just realization emptiness. This, with great accumulation of the merit, particularly the merit that is generated or collected through the perfecting the generosity. So therefore, the first bhumi is called perfect joy. So this is called first ground. From that point on, having attained this ground, he is held by the name of the bodhisattvas alone. So the first sattva means first bhumi, the bodhisattvas. So this, I think, this says many things now. First, they're saying, Chandrakirti says, first, before praise, paying homage to the Buddha and the Arahats and the Bodhisattvas, I'm going to pay homage to the compassion, because the compassion is the substantial cause for all the fruits, of the Arahats and the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas. And then there says the compassions. So there's the great compassions. There's three types of, three kind of compassions. The first, the compassion, the great compassions, without, directly associating with realization of absence of self-sufficient I, with realization of the absence of intrinsic I. Third compassions, compassions directly, simultaneously active with the wisdom that realize the absence of self-sufficient I, absence of permanent I, right? The third compassions, that is, the actively associating with wisdom realizing emptiness, absence of intrinsic I. So this is the first through the contemplative dwelling of the dependent originations and this generating the sense of very close to the sentient beings, right? Sentient beings. The second, they see sentient beings like rippling water. The sentient beings just keep changing, nothing really standing still. So that compassion, because of what makes you see that sentient beings unsteady, right? Unsteady, right? Mm-hmm. So because this compassion is actively associating with the wisdom that understands absence of self-sufficient I, right? So that's why they see sentient beings, not standing still, keep changing in every moment. Then the third compassion is not only changings, they do not really exist intrinsically, right? Like, like reflections. The reflections, reflection of the moon, reflection of the face, the shadows, they do not really intrinsically exist. As a relatively, they exist. So, and then with this compassion and with this realization of emptiness, one's and you're out of compassions, perfecting the generosities, accumulating the merit through perfecting the generosity and increasing the wisdom that understands the absence of, absence of intrinsic I. So then first you gain direct realization of emptiness with perfecting the generosities. That's called the, he abide in the perfect joy. So this first bhumi that.
So there's the one type of compassion is gradually developing into the second and third one.
Yes, yes.
So when you develop the second one, you no longer have first kind of a compassion.
No, yeah. There's no possible, because no possible means, the compassions is called mere sentient beings, means that the kind of, that active compassion is not associating with the wisdom.
So you have to actually believe that being exists.
Yeah. So there's something solid, sentient beings is undergoing the sufferings. So now here it says the one who developed the second compassions, don't they have the compassions without associating with the absence of self-sufficient I? Yes. Sometimes is the wisdom, wisdom realizing the absence of self-sufficient is not necessarily associating activeness, associating every time that he developed the compassions. So the second compassions, the bodhisattvas who has developed second compassion also have the first compassion. And even the third compassions, bodhisattvas, and they're also, sometimes their compassion can be without association with realization emptiness. Like, so saying that, whoever realizes the body as impermanent, and then, this person's looking at the body and at the same time realize this is impermanence. So this person, not necessarily all the time, whenever he sees the body, he has to realize the emptiness, the impermanence. When he got drunk and he, or he was distracted, but he still can see his body, but no impermanence. When he dream in the sleeping, he can, he is aware of the body, but there is no realization impermanence. So now the first bhumi is called, now he's born into the lineage of the Tathagata as well. So now he is saying, so he born into the lineage of the Tathagata means it is almost like, in India there's the traditions where the king has many sons, 2 or 3 sons. So they once the one of the son, and announced as so going a future king, and with the ceremony. So then he is certain to become the king in maybe after 3 years or 5 years. So this is like he is born into the lineage of the Tathagata. Now this person is for sure, he is has a certainty to become the Buddha. So there is no returning back, there's no falling back. So that's why it says, now he is born into the lineage of the Tathagata as well. So from the the bodhisattvas who has not yet, come to the first bhumi. So there is chances to fall back. There's a chances to delay, right? So once you attain the first bhumi, and there is no falling back. So that's why he is born into the lineage of Tathagata as well. He has utterly purged the three binding factors. Such, three binding factors. Such a bodhisattvas uphold the state of supreme joy and has the power to shake the 100 worlds. So it's saying that this first bhumis, the moment he attained that state, and it shakes the 100 world. It's not an earthquake, it just shakes. Because all the 10 directions, different directions, 10 directions, the Buddha and Bodhisattvas sense. Now there is new, Bodhisattvas who newly attained the first bhumi. So they all dedicate, they're all pleased and delighted by the new Bodhisattvas. So the first three binding factors. I think three binding factors are what are called three fetters. Fetters. Yeah.
Fetters.
Yeah. Do you remember the word?
Three principles of the cow.
Yeah. So first is the it's kind of imputational misconceptions, which is the grasping at intrinsic I. So they like philosophically or kind of so mistakenly or I think deliberately upholding the intrinsic I. So that is one of the factors. And then deluded doubt. So deluded doubt is, there is liberation or not, probably not. There is no next life or not, probably not. So this is called, so kind of there's emotionally rejections of the next life and the liberations. So this is one of the factors. And then the supremacy of supremacy of misbehave, something like behave, supremacy, like lam loba.
Wrong view.
Yeah, it's the wrong path. Actually, wrong path. Wrong view is the first, and deluded doubt, and the wrong path. So, which means first factor is ignore. You are ignore about the path. The second, and you have doubt on the path. Third, as you are on the wrong path. So these are the three factors. So the first bhumi has, eliminates completely these three factors. because the first he has generated the perfect view, direct realization, emptiness. So there is no chance for the wrong view. And through this perfect view, the direct realizations, there is no possible of having doubt or any, different path, right? So wrong path, any deluded doubt or possible, the possibility of no next life, possibility of no liberations. And then this first Bhumi has perfect view and perfect path. So he has a perfectly generated the perfection of the generosities. Therefore, he is not in the wrong path. So they purge the three binding factors, utterly purge the three binding factors. So this is how you pronounce P-U-R-G-E-D, purged, right? Huh? Purged, yeah, purged. Purge the three factors. It's abandoned, so it means abandoned, right? He has abandoned three binding factors. Now, these three binding factors in ordinary, manifestation beings have no knowledge of the possibility of the liberations, no knowledge of the possibility of the next life. And the second, manifestation beings always in the deluded doubt. So probably no. There's many times there's emotional rejections, but sometimes because of you, it is too hard for you to understand. Or second, something that is too difficult for you and you emotionally reject, right? Something that you could not find any clue and you say that is not possible. And many people, so many sentient beings are, they just simply, because they have a desire to, they wish or they have idea there's a possible of liberation or the becoming enlightened or the mokshas, but they, without finding by themselves, they rely on someone, and someone has to tell them, and then they misguide and they go on the wrong path, right?
So this is doubt of view, meditation, and path, basically. Doubt covers view, meditation, and path.
Yes, view and what do you call it? No doubt and not wrong path. So simply says wrong view or deluded doubt or the wrong path. So the first Bhumi has abandoned these three binding factors. So the binding factors, and what binds, where you binds in continuity in the second existence. So wrong view will bind you and continue in the second existence, and doubt again repeating that and again, and that also binds in the second existence. Wrong path. So there is no way you can, get to the, get to the goal that you wish to attain that state, because you are on the wrong way. Yeah, if you want to go to the airport, LAX, you keep going 71 south and north, right? Or 10 east or San Bernardino. So there's no way you can get to the airport, LAX. Yes, yeah. So such a bodhisattva uphold the state of supreme joy and has the power to shape 100 worlds. And then says, stepping on from one ground to another's. So stepping on one ground to another's. Like as ordinary beings from the beginning, generating compassions, then generating wisdom, realizing emptiness, then generating bodhisattvas, and then path of accumulations and the path of preparations, continuously, stepping on one path to the another path, So he travels perfectly to the higher ones. At that point, the path to all lower realms are blocked for him. So the way he travels, where he went to the state of first bhumi is led by realization emptiness, is a perfect view, with good eye, he was walking, right? So, so he continuously walking with very good visions. So that he has now come to the point that he has blocked 3 realms forever. So the 3 realms forever means now, the 3 lower realms forever means now the lower realms lead by, non-virtuous actions. So this bodhisattvas is not possible to engage in any non-virtuous activities because there is no cause and condition for, the possible to go on the path of any negativities, and physically, verbally, and mentally, because his mind is perfectly abides in that, with that wisdom realizing emptiness. So I think this also implying the virtue and non-virtue is not just determined by the action itself. So action that's driven by and activated by has to be non-virtuous emotionals. So the killing itself, lying itself, is not necessary to be non-virtuous. Lying by, deceiving thought, killing by anger and resentment or out of attachment. So therefore, this act of killing becomes the non-virtue, and lying becomes the non-virtue. So otherwise, if you say, this is the lie, and whoever tells this lie has to be non-virtue. So then, Buddha may have lied to us because the Buddha taught us this conventional, right? So Buddha also mentioned there is in one point that Buddha says, right now there's a kind of the traditions that's pure Ram traditions. The pure Ram traditions means, and if you constantly, praying to be born in the pure Ram, Amitabha's Rams, right? So next life, after you pass away, and you will be, invited in the Amitabha's Ram. So the Buddha says, those people will ask Buddha, so by praying, can you be born in pure Rams? Buddha says, yes. And at the same time, the Buddha says, without any cause and conditions, the fruit is not possible. So the praying has to be done by, just word itself is not going to help you to be born in the pure realm. But, so the cosmic conditions you have to cultivate to be born in the pure realm. So by praying, understanding the each meaning of that praying, and then you may, possible to be born in the pure realm. So in that sense, that's a conventionally. And then we'll also talk about the conditional suffering. So conditional suffering means, constantly, continuity. That is, there is the continuity of yourself. The continuity of yourself that is driven by or propelled by the karma and emotions. So that gives you the image of as a something, one single entity, that continuously going towards the future. So if there is a something, any single entity that is, constantly moving towards the futures, which means that some of the past entity, some of the present entity, they're all moving towards the futures. So in the futures, all those past is still there, and the present is still there in the futures. So that conventional realities is also Buddha, hasn't really refuted. So that itself is the lie. So then, but still Buddha is not lying. So there's a story in the I think it's Rajgir, the ones there's an Arhat, we call Katayana. So the great Arhat. So he, early morning, maybe 3, 4 o'clock, he wakes up and he would just walk, just in front of his room, walking on the ground. So early morning he's working, and then he was doing the contemplations. And this monk is Arhat. And then maybe it's 5 o'clock and dawn, and then you can see a little light. And monks noticed that he, stepped on many ants. There's too many ants has, died. So the monks thinks that. So he acted like a blind person. He was just stepping on the ants, they're killing all these things. But why not you? He is not blind, but he acted like blind. And then they reported to the Buddha, and Buddha called all these bhikshus. So did you see he was killing all the ants? And they said no, but there's many dead ants, and he was walking on them. So, and the Buddha says, yes, in this way, he has not seen those ants, and he has no intention of any, in the intention of killing sentient beings. Rather, and also this is the Arhat. So there is no non-virtue, any non-virtuous state of mind. So, if the killing itself becomes non-virtue, this Arhat and has, committed the non-virtuous actions. So yeah, this, and then amongst bhikshu they asked, and why he kind of, who couldn't see those ants there, right? And Buddha tells the story that in previous life, he was the great doctor, the physician, right? And there was a woman and her daughter. So her daughter has eye problems. She almost, turning blind. So the mother brings her daughter to this doctors. And she was so kind of emotional. This is, please, if you can treat her, if you can cure my daughters, my whole life I will serve you. I'll become the servant. I'll serve you whole life. And then doctor giving me medicines, and she was, healing. And the mother, so she has the promise to serve for her life. And she now said, oh, my daughter is getting better. So what happened now? Then she went to the doctor and says, oh, there's nothing getting better.
Mm.
And she lied to the doctors. A doctor understands she's, her eyesight is getting better. And doctor was so upset, and he gave another medicines, make her blind. So there's some kind of karma, even the arhat. So sometimes he act like like blind. So that's the karma is still there, even your arhat. So now this kind of the point here is making is the first boom of bodhisattvas has ended any possible of engaging in negative actions, right? Negative actions, and the reason is because he has completely eliminated the three binding factors. So the no non-virtue action, because the the condition for non-virtuous actions has eliminated. So which means act itself by itself is not it's not going to be turning into non-virtuous action or virtuous actions. People who raise the pig to kill and before Losar and keep feeding the pig and giving a bath. So it's not the virtuous actions. So you don't see there is no compassion to the pig. They're just preparing to kill. So the action is not necessary to be action by itself. Is not not defining itself in virtuous and non-virtuous actions.
Gotcha. If it's not virtuous or non-virtuous, does it fall into a different category, or it just doesn't create those two?
What?
So if the actions of the Arya being doesn't generate virtuous action or virtuous merit or non-virtuous merit, is there a third category, or does it just not create those two?
I think so. So there is something to think about actions of the Buddha. It is virtuous actions or non-virtuous actions, or the neutral, right? So if the Buddha has the virtuous action, if the Buddha is cultivating the mirrors, so if the Buddha is gaining knowledge, so then he is no longer Buddha. So virtues here the sunam mayimbas, virtues and non-virtues. The purpose of engaging in the virtuous actions to reach somewhere, to become, to get something positive result. So non-virtuous actions to brings a negative result. So Buddha has no any desire to become the better, to become, to avoiding becoming the worse or the bad. I think probably you can see in Milareva's stories, one study that she says, oh, I have, long before I have committed non-virtuous actions, after that I have, engaged in the positive actions. Now I'm free from both. So there's some in the actions is the positive, result is the positive, motivation is the positive, but there is no any desire. That action is not driven by any desire. So it's something desire, then you can say is virtuous or non-virtuous actions. Right. So it's people who have to say you did a good job or you did a bad job.
So is that like saying the intention, or is it desire separate? Something?
Yeah, intention is part of desire.
Yeah.
Expectations, intention, anticipations, all of part of the desire. In taking refuge to 3 jewels is the desire. That's where it says, I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha until I'm enlightened. So what after enlightened, what you do? So I don't need to take refuge to anyone. Yeah, you don't need the refuge object. You are perfectly, completely, totally protected yourself. So the stepping
So
over,
we can say intention then is a kind of expression of desire, because your intention involves some kind of at least temporary goal of improving your condition on the path.
Yes, that's right. The expectations, the intentions, motivations, these all kind of, different name of the desire. So you can have many desires. Right? So compassion is also desire. Bodhisattva is part of desire. So compassion is the strong desire that every sentient being is free from suffering. And the Bodhisattva is a very, very powerful desire that is, liberating, leading every sentient being without any exceptions to the state of the Buddhahood. So that is a very powerful desire. So I think desire, and attachment. So that's why I'm saying the language is, if you try to find the meaning inside the language by itself, probably there is no meaning. Language is what is, at that time, why you use that word. So what you're trying to, indicate, what you're trying to imply. So there's a Sangha text praising to the Maitreya Buddha, says, you have permanently attached forever to sentient beings. Because he was totally bind himself, tied up himself forever with sentient beings. This is, implying that his compassion, the quality of the compassions, never really, leave sentient beings, even one single sentient beings. So I think in Tibetan you say, de chas. De means want, desire. Cha means fixations. You want something with fixations and you can say that's a delusional mind.
But at the same time, the Buddha is sometimes, if I'm not mistaken, referred to as the desireless one. Is that correct?
I think Buddhist in that in that regards about the desires, and Buddha must have desire. So the desire is the one that connected with sentient beings. So desire is the one that's forever turning wheel of the dharmas. Desire is the one that he is endlessly, limitlessly, creating emanations, like a sun, radiates. There is no moment that sun is not radiating, right? So I think Buddha, why once you get enlightened, every moment, every second, your whole energies, your whole activities dedicated for the sentient beings is through the desire. So in the text, again, it says the compassion plays a role like a seed and water and the fruit. So the benefit from the being enlightened is the source of joy for the every sentient beings. I think that I think this is the desire. Sometimes is the best one. So many or say in the lower school, Śrāvakas school, Vaibhashika school, they follow these two tenets. They think, so the Buddha, so when passing nirvana, so the Buddha passing nirvana and the Arhat and the Pratika Buddhas, the Śrāvakas, whoever, when they pass away, and that's the end. There's nothing left. So the reason I think here is, your desire to perfect yourself, your desire to enlighten yourself. Once you got enlightened, there's no further goal for you. You have no desire to any achieve. So when you pass away, there is no desire to coming back to form yourself in any form. So here the Bodhisattva mind is saying, desires, even you become perfect and complete yourself, but you still have the desire to make others to be perfect. Because the purpose of your attaining enlightenment is for the sake of sentient beings, not for yourself. So the desire is not end there. So I think that helps, And then Samkhya school, there the nirvana or the liberations, they're called, what is that? The entering into dukkha, moksha, like white umbrellas. So then finally you just interest in there and you have no desire at all. And you have no concept, no imaginations, no experience. So you're just, interested in that, there's the moksha in the looks like a white umbrella. You're just interested in that and you disappears. So that everyone with that implies that whole idea of following path is just for yourself. And when you become, when you're free from all the suffering and the cause of the suffering, and you don't need to do anything. So in that case, when you become the doctor, then you just go and sleep, So I have, all the degrees of how to make the medicines. So I can just eat by myself, cure myself, So like that. So I think they do not know the power of the desires, or they have not much, the knowledge of the qualities of the desires. So right now, we, pray to the Tara and all the Bodhisattva, compassion, all the Bodhisattvas, Mañjuśrīs, Vajrapanis, Menthakas, so many, Buddha and the Bodhisattvas. So they're all there, everywhere. So whenever you make connections, and you will get the blessing from them. There is no moment, if morning 9 o'clock and he will not available, or 10 o'clock he's not available, or midnight he is not there. Don't do prayers. So there's every moment, your Buddha is always present, because when the sunrise, if you face the sunrise, you get the light on you. If you continuously showing the back to the sun, you can't see the sunrise. So I think that's the so good desire and bad desire. So at the point that path to all lower realms are blocked for him, at that point, all the ground of ordinary persons cease for him. So he has transcended the ordinary beings. Right? He is described clearly in the term sky in the,
Similar.
8 aryas. Term akin to the 8 aryas. Pavagyevas, 8 aryas.
Similar in nature.
Yeah, the 8 aryas means there's a arhat and the
Sure, it says 8.
8 aryas. So the Pavagyeva. So Pavagyeva, 8 aryas, and the arhat is the one of the arya, and the engage in entering into aryas, arhats is this another the arya, and non-returning arya are the aryas, and the entering into non-returning aryas, and once returning aryas, entering into one returns aryas, and stream entering, and the entering into stream entering aryas. So the 8. So this is the 8 aryas. So in the Hinayanas, the 8 aryas. The first arya is the 8th one. The first, entering into stream entry. So which is, newly you are free yourself from these ordinary beings, right? So described as a term keen into akin into the 8 areas. So this first bhumi is, so this is kind of like, so how do you really define the first bhumi? The first bhumi in the fruit state, or first bhumi in entering into the first bhumi? So then here says, Papa Jeba means like 8, the path of seeing before reaches the fruit is still Arya. So that is still the first bhumi. So then, kind of comparing with 8 Aryas, maybe people may misunderstand, maybe 8 Arya is similar to the first bhumi, right? So then, even when abiding on the first ground of the mind for all awakening, which is the first bhumi, he surpassed those born from sages' speech and pratika Buddhas through the power of his merit. So right now we compare, this first bhumi is like the eight Aryas, but this particular Buddha is a bodhisattvas, the first bhumi. Therefore, the moment he enters in the first ground, he surpassed the Pratika Buddhas, the Pratika Buddhas and Śrāvakas, and all the 8 Aryas he surpassed. So merit increases ever more. When at gone, so now this from the first bhumi, he surpassed all the Aryas and Arhat. When he reached the 7th bhumi, so will surpass them by intelligence. Right now, he has surpassed them by merit. So when he reached the 7th bhumi, he not only surpassed, by the merit, or surpassed the power of his merit, he also surpassed by his intelligence. So why not right now the first bhumi has not surpassed by his intelligence, which means the direct realization emptiness equally they have. This when the 7th bhumi, and he has, not only eliminating the afflictive emotions, now he has come to the point now his realization emptiness is about to, apply as an antidote for the imprints of the afflictive emotions. That kind of intelligence is not there with all these arhats. Right? Arhat intelligence is only to overcome the afflictive emotions. It has no power to eliminate the imprints of the afflictive emotions. So at this point, the first cause of all awakening, the perfection of the generosities, will become, preeminent. Preeminent. So committed to giving away even his very flesh, giving become a sign to infer his unseen qualities. So this first bhumi of the bodhisattvas has now perfected his generosities. He has no any hesitations or any doubtful to giving, every part of his organs and, his flesh. So that is the unseen qualities. So the innermost qualities that is developed through the perfecting the generosities. So this bodhisattvas can give his head, give away his head 1,000 times. So now the tricky thing is because there's no pain, and he has the power to regain head 1,000 times, right? So if he doesn't like his shape of his head, and he can give to others, and he can have another better head. So if he doesn't like his nose shape, then he can also give to that. So this is called why in this Prajaparamita Sutras. So they can, I think they, Prajaparamita Sutras. So consider this first Bhumi Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. His body is no longer, governed by karma and afflictions. So his body is purely, I don't know how to say, the control or influence or impact, or what do you say? His body is the nature of the perfect wisdom. So the pure energies that is, run by perfect view. So the body arises from that pure energies. So when you have this kind of body, you may, you can give 1,000 times, it comes back, new one. So this is called the body, nature of the mind. So which means it's kind of purely sustained and arises from the pure energy. In the Asanga's text, the trying to describe the quality of the body things, and how do you feel when you have this kind of body? So Asanga's text, there's only one example. So this is someone who has been undergoing the allergy for 30 years, 40 years. Now, due to some kind of treatment, he was completely free and heal that allergy. And how do you feel? How do that person feel? Like this person, so far, all these 1,000 lives, the body is completely governed by karma and afflictions. Now there is no cosmic condition that is the governing his body. Now his body is sustained and abide within the pure energy. So this is one of the examples in this in Asanga's text. So if the first Bhumi has this kind of body, and how about the Buddha, the 10 Bhumis? So that the Buddhas, there's a Dijit and a Dinyasanjanas in the, so Buddha can, Buddha can abide, and 1,000 Buddhas can abide in one particles. Countless Buddha can abide in one particles. So you see, which means it's kind of, you can't see, there's some maybe, so people may think it's impossible, but if you think that if you consider this one piece of sand, so that has the amount of the sand, the people of the Buddhas kind of could abide in one piece of sand, like countless Buddhas. So this is, and if I think maybe there's a possible from the quantum physics point of views. And the wave has no time can measures, no form, and not any measurement. So they measure less, time less. So why not? It is possible. You can, the 1,000 Buddha can, can be, formed or exist in the one particles. So I don't think the first Bhumi, the 101st Bhumi can form in one particles. So so these are the inner, inner quality or unseen qualities. These qualities cannot be, witnessed by eye consciousness. All living beings eagerly yearn for happiness. So then, now they're saying, so what is the, why you first, the first Bhumi is, why you call it first Bhumi as a great joy, why you, identify the first Bhumi with perfection of the generosity. So why do you count generosity as the first perfections among the 10 perfections? So why not the generosity is the second? Why not generosity is the fifth and the seventh? So then this is, all living beings eagerly yearn for happiness. Yet, for a human being, there is no happiness without resources. So, has a marital, right? Resources, in turn, come about from generosities. Knowing this, the Buddha spoke on generosity first. So, everybody's, so everybody's chasing happiness. From the beginning, first they can see the happiness. They can see the happiness with wealth, resources. So, right, this is when first you, for the ordinary beings, the first they introduce the happiness is with resources. So then after that, you perfect that generosities. And then you find, not the resources though, not only the resources, there is something better than resources, and the perfection of morality, perfection of the patience, perfection of the, concentrations, perfection of the wisdoms. So the first you see happiness with, things. That's why Buddha mentioned generosity as the first. So all living beings eagerly yearn for happiness. Yet for human beings, there is no happiness without the resources, marital resources, in turn, come about from the generosities. Knowing this, the Buddha spoke on generosity first. So this is why the generosity is the first. And then the question is, how can generosity, but practice of generosity, become the condition for attaining enlightenment? So why generosities? So what is the special in the generosities that can, lead you to the enlightenment? Then this is those with weak compassions and ruthless mind, who seek their own welfare with enthusiasm. Wealth with enthusiasms. Even for them, the wealth they desire will come from generosity. A cause generosity, a cause that relieves suffering. So then says, yes, generosity, through the generosity, you can, be able to get the access to finding the path to enlightenment. Even the person is no compassion, and this person is very selfish, And if you put habit in giving, so there is possible you may get access, which means there is possible you may get, the person perfect guru. So there you may encounter with bodhisattvas. So this, I told the story of in an ancient, I think the Puran stories. One of the there was a lady, old lady, very rich, and she lived all by herself, and she has a very good house, and there's plenty of money, but she was very stingy. Even she cooked something, and she says, "Oh, so maybe I'll keep this for tomorrow." And so tomorrow she cooked yesterday food. So then when she clean up the room and put the bed sheets, and she said, "Oh, if I sit on this, it will wrinkles. There's a bit mess up." So every time she sleep on the floor, she has a good bed. So that's kind of the old lady. And then there's a one Bodhisattva. She is also the Vishnu Bhakti, devotees. She has faith, very strong faith, or say unshakable faith in the Bhagavan. So one day there's a Bodhisattva, the one man, and when he go out for every time, one time a day, he always go to her house, and she always reject, and he was keep going, and people say, "Why do you go there?" I said, "This woman never give you anything." And then he come to the door and says, "I came here to beg, can you give me something to eat?" And one day she was very annoyed, irritated, and she was cleaning up. There's one rug, and then she threw this to that person. She said, "Take this. So this is all I have." And this person says, "Thank you very much. At least you give me something." Right? And so that was the Bodhisattvas. And then he went back to, this person went back to his house, and then he cleaned up, washed that rug, very, very clean, and make the, wig, and make butter lamp and pray, for her. And then in her dream, the Bhagavan comes, and the Bhagavan blessed her and taught her. And she was so convinced. Next time she totally changed next day. So the ruthless, no compassion, but if you keep hold on that faith, you may one day encounter with someone who can really help you. So even though you have no compassion, ruthless, and for your own sake, so you have to be nice to others. So indeed, it is through the practice of generosities that he will swiftly, right, at some point meet the Aryas, and he will then cut clean the continuum of cyclic existence, and as a result, he will journey to the state of peace. So I think this is same faith, continuously holding on to faith, not giving up, or continuously doing the practice with generosity, or continuously holding on to practice with patience, right, and continuously doing meditations. So if you persistent in anything, so there is possible of, to reach high state of peace. So this is why those who keep in mind their pledge to help sentient beings without much delays attain the joy through their generosities, since it's for the both compassionate and one who is not. So a compassionate one or compassionless ones. So through the generosities can really, open up to finding the path for the enlightenment or the liberations. So this discourse on the generosity is primary, right? So now in the stanza it says, if simply hearing or thinking of the phrase "give me" brings such joy to the children of the conqueror, joy not experienced even by the arhat who enters into peace. What need is there to speak of joy when they're giving away everything? So now they're saying, what is the generosities? They can understand. What is the perfection of the generosities? So the perfection of the generosities, particularly the first group is perfection of the generosities, or the bodhisattvas who are not attained yet in the first bhumi. So their practice with generosities is it not just brings, peace for the futures, instantaneously, the sound of, the sound of giving, give me, sound of protect me, sound of help me, sound of, any help. So give them the great satisfactions. So this, if someone says, please help me, or, any kind of, what's that, hearing that really calls you for any help. So just by sound itself, they're giving them great satisfactions.
Gives them satisfaction because they can help them, they can give them something.
It's kind of like they're, there's bodhisattvas, the great compassion is because their whole idea, their practice is for dispelling the suffering of the sentient beings. If someone, call you for help, and it's like, this is me, this is my duty, or this is how, kind of, that defines yourself. It's like, you learn whole years the carpentering. If someone said, please, can you please help fix the table? And he was really excited. This, I can do it. So just the word itself, just hearing someone calling for you is give them the satisfactions. So, being able to dispel that particular suffering or not is another level. Right? So if someone asks, "Oh, I want a helicopter," so you said, "Oh, maybe I can pray with you to get a helicopter." And all you can say, or just, maybe I'll give you a train. So just, because I think it just, what do you call it, sometimes ring the bell, or it hit the point. So there's something that is centered, always there's some kind of, you can say, there's a pain that touches that, and it triggers the great satisfactions. Right? So the compassion and the great compassion is this much, that's how the difference. The compassion, the great compassion is like, sometimes it's like someone who has romantically attracted to one particular person's, and when you heard the sound of that person's, and that really kind of ignites all the joy and satisfactions. So the great compassion is like that. Always, even in a dream, just always desire to help sentient beings. Or you breathe, you say, breathe out, I'm sending the positive energy to the sentient beings. Breathe in and taking the suffering of all sentient beings into you. So this is the person. He has this kind of, very deep in their mind.
I'm looking on page 111, the first paragraph sentence. When one's mind is attracted to the bliss of tranquility, one becomes diverted from others' welfare. So it seems that there isn't, the Bodhisattva doesn't even have a fixation on his own tranquility. That's what it sounds like.
Can you say that again? What is
Yeah, this is on page
Mhm.
111, the top paragraph, where the first paragraph begins. When one's mind is attracted to the bliss of tranquility, one becomes diverted from others' welfare. So that's kind of a very gripping statement, kind of suggesting the bodhisattva doesn't even have a fixation or an attachment to his own tranquility. Because if he's fixated on his own tranquility, that diverts his mind from caring for others. At least this is the
Can you explain
translation.
that?
I think the bliss of tranquility is for arhats. This is something more than arhat can enjoy. The satisfaction is more
So diverted.
away from.
I still don't understand.
I think the previous paragraph. So on the through text, the third line, joy not experienced even by the arhats who enter into peace.
Oh, yeah.
So that arhat's peace, the bodhisattva is even greater satisfaction is getting. Because once you get into that peace, you are not really looking at others.
Okay. So, okay, now I got it. So Larry is playing with bingo. So I was confused. So
Why am I playing with ego? This to me is a statement of egolessness. This is kind of a very clear statement of the bodhisattva's egolessness, that he's not concerned with his own tranquility.
Yeah.
He's concerned because if he's too concerned with his own tranquility, he becomes diverted, or he goes away from his kind of goal of benefiting others. So this is not, to me, a statement of ego. It's quite the contrary.
Yeah. So I'm still, not sure. So right now I'm talking about how bodhisattvas is centered. Their whole mind is centered in compassion. So it's the same thing. Egoless. So just hold their energies is focusing on, how can I be able to dispel the suffering of the sentient beings, right? Always, be ready, preparing, and perfecting yourself for that, the ability to overcoming the suffering of the sentient beings. So in another angles, you can see what really bodhisattvas, so enthusiastically, always almost so attached to the sentient beings. What is the driving force of that? And then he says, oh, that's easy, that's the great compassion. Why? The great compassion is always active and engaging. And again, you says there's some kind of, there's a bodhisattva also find there's some, that the, attracted to this deep satisfactions. So more they engage, more they active in an activity of the compassions, and then the stronger the satisfaction, the joy in them. So the joy and the satisfaction is the fuel that is continuously growing up these great compassions, and that the compassions again perfecting themselves, improving themselves. So you see, that no one is really doing anything without any, benefit. So you see, so in that case, the Bodhisattvas, the business is to collect the, what they want is the joy and satisfactions. So they find the compassion is the, the best way to keep yourself happy and satisfied and confident all the time. And the Hinayanas thinks, so many lives we've been, suffer and, due to the grasping of self and afflictive emotions. I simply, my whole desire to overcome, to defeat the afflictive emotions. So which means my whole effort is to free myself from the cause of the suffering. So when you reach that state, freedom from the suffering, and then you just, abide, and then you just experience the taste of that peace all the time. And you have not much, desire to dispelling the suffering of others. So now the both are from their own, from their own point of view or their own way of, from their own perspective. So they are all looking for the peace for themselves. So now, this arhat find a peace, freedom from the suffering. This bodhisattvas, not just freedom from the suffering, your own suffering, others' suffering, all become the cosmic condition for, the increasing of their satisfactions. So the bodhisattva, that's called, even the cause of suffering is become for them to feel happy and satisfactions. They become the cosmic condition to increases their joyous effort, improving themselves. So that's why the Bodhisattva is wise. This is a very wise person. He finds everything is tool to growing that, satisfaction and joy. So that's why Hinayana and the Bodhisattva is a wise person. So that kind of, even the ordinary bodhisattvas, the way they experience the satisfactions, even that, that kind of the satisfaction, joy, is never really experienced, tasted by even the arhats. Right. So even the bodhisattva who has not yet on the path of bhumi, so they can achieve, they can experience the taste of joy. That kind of joy and happiness is for years and years never really experienced, being able to experience by the arhat. So now the question is, if bodhisattva has no joy in dispelling the suffering of others, do they really go on and on the compassions? Probably not. So his holiness is the wise selfish, the bodhisattvas are the wise selfish. They really know, every detail of the cosmic condition for the happiness and joy. So I'll stop here. If simply hearing or thinking of praise give me, changing So it's not just one word, give me or help me, or like sometimes people not necessarily always says help me and give me, right? What is it? How do you know? Someone very, eagerly want to know something, and so that is also pain. So then that kind of, the sound that you hear, you are always be ready and always willingly and explain things. So this is called Bodhisattva. Never really have, how to say, what called, sometimes like bored or I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like something. There is Bodhisattva is no, what do you call that? This thing?
It's hesitation.
It's not a hesitation. It's like a
Reluctance.
Yeah. So the Bodhisattva, because of this compassion, there's no reluctance. So that's about the Bodhisattvas. So we know ourselves, so we don't need to explain. So our story, we know our story. Yeah, any questions now?
So this chapter is on the first ground.
Yeah, we're just in the first ground.
And,
These whole explanations, in this commentary. So we all finished reading those whole first ground. Sometimes more clear when you read the root text. So no questions? Okay then. Chanju simjo rinpoche majepa na jeju jeba nyamba meba nyam kondo pebrush tonye tawa rinpoche majepa na jeju jeba nyamba meba kondo pebrush pama simjen tamje dada denju ngendro tamje tado tongwa chanju simba kanda sushu tada kunje molom jubju ruji karera weko beshina kanda dewa malu jungwa ne jere simba tenze jazu shabe sete badu denju ruji.
May the precious Buddha mind not yet born arise. May the bone have no decline but increase forever. May the precious mind realizing emptiness not yet born arise and grow. May the bone have no decline but increase forever. Due to all these merits, may all Father and Mother Saints of Beings have all happiness. May all realms be empty forever. Wherever there are Bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. All powerful changes remain in this world until samsara end.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Julie, Happy New Year. Every year is new, but I don't know why I say it.